Evening, everyone. My name is Eduardo Sanchez. Thank you so much for coming out for my mini TED Talk. It is my hope that I will not bore you over these next few minutes, and also my hope that I do not make you wish you had found something better to do on your lovely Miami evenings. A little bit about myself. I grew up in a let me not say a somewhat strict household, where the things I watched, the music I listened to, the movies I was able to see, were very limited. They had to help improve who I was. And so one of the few things I was actually allowed to watch was a show called Star Trek. I'm already showing my nerd card if all the posters behind me didn't help that. Star Trek was a big part of my life. Whenever I watched it, I thought to myself, this is where I see us going. This is where I see humanity getting to where it needs to be. Everyone working together, everyone being a part of one nation, becoming one group of people, attempting to expand both the human condition and seek out new life forms and new civilizations. Every week, at least on the original series, Captain Kirk would venture out with his crew, boldly going where no one had gone before. And every now and then, Kirk would run into a species that humans had never seen before. A strange alien species. And his response, 9 times out of 10, was always ray shields, armed torpedoes, ready phasers. For me, that was very action-packed because I was very young at the time, and I thought, oh, that seems fun. I mean, you would be excited by something like that. I was. Next Star Trek I would watch, though, was The Next Generation with Picard, who took a different approach. He was always very diplomatic. He followed a set of rules, and he always respected that alien's culture. When I was younger, I didn't quite realize what was happening. But I was seeing a bit of a contrast. I was watching what happens when culture shock hits, and almost the 2 different types of avenues that one could take. See, the Federation depicted a form of universalism. What universalism is when we judge everyone based on the same moral code. I don't care that I'm Cuban and you over there is from Russia. I'm guessing. I'm probably wrong, and I apologize in advance. I'll get you a coffee. But let's say that we're both from 2 different areas, but I'm going to judge you on what I feel is morally correct based on everyone around us. Therein lies a problem. Therein lies a problem, because I was judging you based on how I would react. I was being more of a Captain Kirk versus a Captain Picard who practiced more of a cultural relativism, which is in essence when you meet a person for the first time and you take into account where they come from. And you judge them, not judge, but you judge your interactions based on where they came from, because they may have a different way of doing things, a different way of expressing themselves, of speaking about themselves. These 2 types of thoughts are sort of the ideas that we deal with, especially as teachers. Now, spoiler alert, I am a math teacher. And in that, I always have those 2 options. You see, as a teacher, it can be very simple to have a student come in from another country, sit in your classroom, attempt to do things, attempt to solve problems the way they were raised to solve those problems, and then get them wrong, because it's not how we hear, how the universal ideology would consider solving an equation is correct. So I can teach them, I can break them of their individuality and create them into a more universalist style of thinking. Or I can push for their individuality. I can see where they come from, what system they're using, why they got it wrong. Was it only wrong by our standards, or did they get it right based on where they came from? These are sort of the things that we as teachers constantly have to run into. Who is right? Is there a universal ideology here, or is there a answer relative to them? So what do we do? What do we do? Something I do at the start of every year, and especially this year because I actually had a lot of students come over from Europe. where they had different ways of doing mathematics, was I set the ground rules. Step one is I asked them what they feel my rules should be and what they feel would be a fair consequence for those rules. Then I set out the expectations. I make them know how my class is going to work. I let them know, guys, I'm going to teach you the way things are done here, but I'm going to make sure that every single one of you gets a moment in the spotlight. That every single one of you has their individualism praised and shown off to others and has the chance to teach others how math is done in the UK, in South America, in Peru. I had a student show us how math is done in a base 6 system. I had never heard of a base 6 or seen a base 6 system. Let me actually pick up where I almost kind of stumbled and trailed off, but I had never seen a math done in this way. And to us, it's odd, it's wrong, especially as we in the United States practice a base 10 system. But for them, it was the norm. It was the complete norm. And so I took a month translating everything we had done to a base 6. And then showing not only her, but the class, how everything goes from a base 6 back over to a base 10. And that is a thing that I feel we as teachers need to do. We need to celebrate their individualities. But I'm going to stop myself, though. Because while I feel that universalism in the extreme is wrong, cultural relativism in the extreme can also be wrong. And let me go back to Captain Picard. You see, yes, he was all about how realizing that individuals came from a different culture, a different race, but he always followed a very similar moral code. He had crew members from other races, not just on Earth, but from the Klingon homeworld, the Vulcan homeworld, and each of them brought a bit of themselves. Each of them brought a bit of their own individuality, but he always held them to a very similar standard while celebrating where they came from, pushing for them to take their individuality and their own cultural awareness and their cultural identity and help him create something interesting. That's what I feel we need to do. We need to find that middle road between universalism and cultural relativism. And that's the job of us teachers. These students need to feel welcomed while also understanding that while they're here, there is a certain way of doing things. Is it the right way? Is it the wrong way? Who's to say? Maybe one day we'll have moved past and cease with all these cultural shocks that we run into on a day-to-day basis. Accepting of everyone's cultures, understanding where they're coming from, while still creating a central sort of list of ethics, a moral code that we as the people of Earth can all adhere to. And maybe in that day, we'll finally, hopefully take my dreams, of reaching out to the stars, creating our own federation, and boldly going where no one has gone before. Thank you so much, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I apologize for the lateness. If you have any questions, please feel free to come on by, and hopefully we can create something good here. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening.